From Chet TV's studios in British Columbia, this is Chet TV News with Marlon Gomez.
Hello and welcome to Chet TV News. I'm Marlon Gomez. We begin with local news. A Chetwynd resident has been found after going missing earlier this week. RCMP say Kirsten Palpane went missing on the early hours of Wednesday morning. Chetwynd Fire Services says Palpane was found Thursday morning unharmed in Lacombe, Alberta. It is still unknown why she disappeared. Moving on to regional news now. A drop in flights at Dawson Creek's regional airport has caused councillors and mayor to discuss how to keep it open in the future. The city of Dawson Creek bought the airport from the government back in the 1990s. Jim Shute, Dawson Creek's chief administrative officer, says the airport has been losing money for many years now.
Our airport's annual losses are running between, say, $550,000 and $650,000 a year, and that's been fairly constant over the last 3-4 years.
In addition to the drop in flight sales, City Councillor Mark Rogers says upcoming capital projects are a big concern.
We are sitting in deferred capital projects for years of almost upwards of $9 million of investment that has to go into that airport.
Rogers says every time a person flies out of Dawson Creek's airport, the city pays a $55 subsidy both ways, which comes out of the taxpayers' pockets. However, the big question is that really worth paying for? Especially when people can drive to Fort St. John and roughly pay the same price. Chet TV News did a comparison for flights this weekend between Hawk Air and WestJet and found the difference of about $50. Earlier this week, Council passed a total of 3 motions to try and figure out how they can raise more money to cover the airport's cost. One of those motions involves asking Pouce Coupe, Saddle Hills, Chetwynd, and Tumbler Ridge to pitch in for the cost. If all else fails, Rogers says the city could make some good use of that land.
And so I just look at it and I go, okay, if it's the airport is subsidized by upwards of $500,000 a year, being conservative, you could always decommission the airport, not have an airport, take that airport land, turn it into commercial property, and have buildings out there that start paying towards our tax base.
All right, it's time for our weather report now. Let's go outside the station where Robert Springett is waiting to join us. Robert, how's the weather looking for this weekend?
Thank you very much, Marlon. Yeah, this weekend isn't going to be a very appealing weekend to be outdoors or even on the roads for that matter. We're going to see some freezing rain. We're going to see some flurries. Even wind speeds will reach 70 kilometers an hour. But towards the end of our 5-day forecast, temperatures will be rising. I'll have the full details when we come back after the break. Don't go anywhere. These outdoor enthusiasts know that their hike will be enjoyable. It helps that they are prepared for whatever adventure awaits them. That means planning ahead, before you even step outside. Plan a travel route. They are going to www.adventuresmart.ca for a sample trip plan. Make sure you carry the essentials: extra food and water, emergency blankets, first aid kit, sunscreen, fire starting kit, enough clothing for an extra day, and flashlights. After checking the weather forecast and letting friends and family know how long and where they are going, these two are ready for their hike.
From Chet TV's studios in British Columbia, this is Chet TV News with Marlon Gomez.
Welcome back to Chet TV News. Now, before the break, we were telling you that towards the weekend, it wasn't going to be the most appealing time to be outdoors, but going towards Monday and Tuesday, it's starting to look a little bit better. Let's look at Chetwynd first. Tonight, 60% chance of flurries. That may turn into rain depending on where the temperature is. Also, tonight will be very windy. It could get up to 70 kilometers an hour with a low of 0. Saturday, cloudy with a 60% chance of flurries or rain in the morning. The rain will clear by the afternoon. Another windy day. Again, the wind could gust up to 70 kilometers an hour. Low of -7 and a high of +1. Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud, high of -1 and a low of -3. Monday, cloudy with a high of +2 and a low of +1. And on Tuesday, sunny with a high of +4 and a low of -6. In Dawson Creek tonight, cloudy with a chance of flurries or freezing rain, also very windy. Winds will be gusting between 20 and 70 kilometers an hour tonight, low of 0. Saturday, cloudy with a 60% chance of showers, also expect it to be very windy once again. The wind could reach 70 kilometers an hour, low of -7 and a high of +1. Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud, high of -1 and a low of -3. Monday, cloudy with a high of +2 and a low of +1. And on Tuesday, sunny with a high of +4 and a low of -6. In Fort St. John, tonight, cloudy with periods of snow beginning near midnight. Expect 2 to 4 centimeters of snowfall with a low of -1. Saturday, periods of snow before clearing in the afternoon. Expect some strong winds at times. High of 0 and a low of -7. Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud with a high of -1 and a low of -3. Monday, cloudy with a high of +2 and a low of +1. And on Tuesday, sunny with a high of +4 and a low of -6. Now taking a look at Grand Prairie tonight, cloudy clearing near midnight, getting a little windy overnight with a low of -2. Saturday will be sunny with the winds reaching 40 kilometers an hour, low of -9 and a high of -2. Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud with a high of 0 and a low of -2. Monday, cloudy with a high of +3 and a low of +1. And on Tuesday, a mix of sun and cloud with a high of +5 and a low of -7. Finally, looking at Prince George, expect some rain in the evening, and depending on where the temperature is sitting, you might see some flurries or freezing rain, low of -1. Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud with a 30% chance of flurries, but it will clear in the afternoon with a high of +2 and a low of -6. Sunday, cloudy with a 60% chance of flurries or rain, high of +2 and a low of 0. Monday, cloudy with a high of 2 and a low of 0. And on Tuesday, cloudy with a high of +2 and a low of -5. So there you have it, Marlon. Overall, this weekend's looking not the best, but towards the work week, we're talking Monday and Tuesday, things will clear up and the temperatures will rise. We'll send it back to you now, Marlon.
Thanks, Robert. Now it's time for the Peace Region Sports Update. For that, we will go to Chris Newton, who is filling in for Matt Nicholson.
All right, thanks, Marlon. The NWJHL had 2 games early this week. On Tuesday, the Fairview Flyers defeated the JDA County Kings at home by the score of 7-1. Trevor Tokars had 2 goals, and Kenton White made 17 saves between the pipes to lead the Flyers. On Wednesday night, the Dawson Creek Junior Canucks nearly won their first game of the 2016 calendar year in a thrilling home game at the Memorial Arena. The junior sees Jeremy Cronier, who hadn't recorded many points this season, drew first blood, scoring unassisted 3 minutes 25 into the first period. Randy Spockley made it 2-0 Dawson Creek just over 6 minutes into the second, assist by Jordan Ray and Spencer Gover, before Jeremy Cronier added his second of the game on a feed from Wyatt Warrens and Scott Fisher. The Huskies began their rally just over a minute after a timeout. Cody Disher and Cale Bell scored in the second half of the second period, and Bell added his second of the night in the third to tie things up 3-3. After overtime failed to settle the match, Bell's hot stick was the only goal in the shootout to give the Huskies the win and vault them into third place in the NWJHL standings. It is going to be an action-packed weekend in the NWJHL with 6 games on Friday nights. The Beaver Lodge Blades will be playing in Dawson Creek. The Canucks need a win badly to make sure that they grab 6th spot in the NWJHL, and they have definitely played down to the Blades level this season, losing 3 of 5. But the Junior Canucks should even the Stevens series in this game. Also on Friday, the Flyers are going to be facing off in Peace River against the Navigators. The top 2 teams clashed for the last time before the playoffs, and the Navigators lost the last meeting on the road. And I definitely think they can get the win this weekend at home. Saturday night now, the Vipers are going to be facing off against the Canucks at the Memorial Arena. The Junior Canucks have played the Vipers close all year, but have yet to grab a point versus Sexsmith. With Grey Eyes back in the lineup, though, Dawson Creek has looked much improved, and they are definitely poised to pull off the upset. Meanwhile, the Beaver Lodge Blades are going to be traveling up the Alaska Highway to meet up against the Huskies. The Huskies have definitely got some momentum after capturing 3rd place. Look for them to add to that lead with a win over the Blades. And then on Sunday, the Junior Canucks will be going on the road for their 3rd game this weekend. 4 games, 5 days. Doesn't bode well for the Junior Canucks pulling off the upset in this matinee matchup in Peace River. Puck drop for that game is at 3:30. Meanwhile, the JDA County Kings will be facing off against the Vipers in Sexsmith. The Vipers have won 4 in a row coming into the weekend, and the JDA Kings have been having a tough time getting wins as of late. So look for the Vipers to win this one at home. The standings in the NWJHL right now are as follows. The Fairview Flyers, they have got 3 games left. They're definitely got a commanding lead over the league with 58 points. Navigators, though, not far back. They've got only 4 points less than the Flyers, and they have a game in hand. Now, the Huskies are in a very, very close battle with the JDA County Kings for 3rd place. The Huskies sit 1 point up on the JDA County Kings with 36 points, but the JDA County Kings do have a game in hand. Not far behind them with an extra game in hand. 5 games left for the Vipers. They're sitting with 31 points in 5th spot. Then you've got our last 2 basement teams. The Junior Canucks have 5 games remaining with 11 points, while the Blades 3 points back from the Junior Cs, and they've only got 4 games left. Meanwhile, in the Northern Alberta Minor Hockey League, the Northeast BC Yukon Trackers are going to be playing the Peace River Royals at home on Sunday. The Trackers are currently in 3rd in the Bear Slashing division with 32 points, only 4 points behind the 2nd place Royals. And the Dawson Creek Senior Canucks lost the first game of their best-of-5 series to Fort St. John by the score of 4-1 on Tuesday night. Games 2 and 3 will be going Thursday night in Dawson Creek before heading to Fort St. John on Friday. This concludes your Peace Region Sports Update. For Chet TV, I'm Chris Newton, subbing in for the Madman Matt Nicholson. Marlon, back to you.
Thanks, Chris. Now to see what events are happening in the Peace region, we will turn over to Jeff Hill for our community events segment.
Thanks, Marlon. There's a ton of hockey happening in the Peace over the next 2 weeks and other fun activities, so let's jump right into it. Next on the list is a coffee house night. Powder King Resort is hosting an evening full of live music by local artists. The event will be happening on February 6th at 7 p.m. and admission is free. Then on February 7th, the Rec Center is hosting a chocolate fun run. If you've been slacking on that New Year's resolution to be more active, then this is the perfect way to get the ball rolling. The run starts at noon and people will run a total of 5K. Admission is $5 for adults and $3 for teenagers. Call the Rec Center to save your spot. Also happening that weekend are 3 Junior Canucks games. The first 2 will be at home and the final one will be in Peace River, Alberta. The first home game is on Friday at 8 p.m. against the Beaver Lodge Blades. Then on Saturday, the Canucks play on home ice again, this time facing the Sexsmith Vipers at 8 p.m. And finally on Sunday, the Canucks go on the road to face the North Peace Navigators. This is a rescheduled game from earlier on in the season. That game will start at 3:30 p.m. Tickets for all games are $10 for adults and $5 for kids and seniors. And our last event is a Valentine's dinner and dance on February 13th. The Farmington Community Association is hosting the dance, followed by some live music from Morgan McGowan. Doors will open at 7 p.m. with a beef dinner being served at 7:30. For tickets, call the number listed below, or you can buy them at the Tiger Stationers in Dawson Creek. That's all the events we have for you, so get out there and attend as many activities as you can. I'll send it back to you, Marlon.
Thanks, Jeff. Now it's time for our movie review done by our very own Cole Pops. Have a look.
Hey everyone, it's time once again for Pop's Picks, and this week I am very excited to be taking a look at Star Wars: The Force Awakens. It's directed by J.J. Abrams and it stars Oscar Isaac, Daisy Ridley, and John Boyega, as well as a few familiar actors. This is episode 7 in the legendary Star Wars franchise, and it takes place about 30 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. Let's jump right in.
Who are you? I'm no one.
I was raised ready to do one thing. But I've got nothing to fight for.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
So this movie was easily the most hyped up movie of last year, possibly even the last 5 years. And there was a lot of pressure on director J.J. Abrams to not screw it up. Thankfully, he didn't, and he actually kind of knocked it out of the park. He brilliantly brought in new characters to the Star Wars universe, like Poe, Rey, and Finn, that were fun and entertaining and extremely likable as well. He also brought in old favorites like Han Solo and Princess Leia, and they don't just feel thrown in because they have to be. The dialogue they have is actually very meaningful. It's not really cheesy, and they have a lot of crucial parts to the development of the story. That's what impresses me the most, is that this is a movie that die-hard Star Wars fans can love, as well as brand new people to the Star Wars universe can love as well.
There are stories about what happened.
It's true. All of it. The dark side. A Jedi. They're real.
Now, the only thing that I see people criticizing this movie for is that the story is very similar to A New Hope. The thing is, it's just a formula for Star Wars. Just like Indiana Jones, James Bond, Fast and Furious all have certain things that we expect to see throughout the movies. And that being said, it still feels very new and exciting. I didn't feel it copied A New Hope, rather kind of tipped its hat in its homage. The acting in this movie is great too, and it's a lot of fun. It brought back the feeling of happy adventuring, and it also had a fantastic villain with plenty of layers to his character, as opposed to the typical, I'm evil because this movie needs somebody evil.
The Force. It's calling to you. Just let it in.
Star Wars The Force Awakens is an amazing return to this timeless franchise. It's great for the old viewers as well as the new viewers. It sets up the next two movies wonderfully, and I'm already excited for Episode 8 and what that will be bringing with it. I'm going to give The Force Awakens 5 out of 5 stars. Check it out every night until Monday, February 8th with showtimes at 8 p.m. This has been Cole Pops for another edition of Pops Pics.
And finally, it's now time for our weekly book review from Pine Tree Books. For that, we will go to Station General Manager Leo Smolsky.
You're watching Leo's Book Reviews on Pics FM, Chet TV, and of course the studios of Pine Tree Books. This is Valentine's week, and so we've got a lot of suggestions that you can buy your finest lover in the world. So I'm going to just go over a couple of things. Listen to Pics FM because you could be the fine winner of this if you enter My Sweetheart is the Best Sweetheart of the piece, and tell us what you call your sweetheart, her pet name. This is pretty neat. I like this. And there's one here, and there's another one. So your sweetheart, and you can go fishing together. And of course, we got a lot of stuff in our prize package. Now I'm going to go over some books packages that you can turn around and read. I've got a wonderful one here. It's a really good. Now this is from a book we have, Bards in the Saddle. So you could buy this book, take it home, and read it to your wife, girlfriend, and you could enjoy a moment of literary bliss. And here's the first poem of literary bliss. One for Peggy by Irene E. Worth. Peggy smiled as she stood by her windowsill and gazed at her garden, the trees and the hill, enjoying the morning in all of its charm and thanking the Lord that she lived on a farm. Old Jake broke the spell of the beautiful morn, tore up the road, barking up a storm. A white Cadillac turned into the lane, and the driver got out, saying, "Let me explain. I was driving perhaps a trifle too fast when your rooster appeared on the road. Alas, I slammed on the brakes, but to no avail. Your rooster's as dead as an old doornail." Peg was sad at the thought of her old rooster dying. But as farmers know, there is no use crying. So before she could tell him it didn't matter, the stranger once more began to chatter. "I'm ever so sorry, I want to be fair. Please let me replace your rooster there." Peggy said, "Well, I don't want to fight you. There are the hens, and I hope they all like you." And that is one of the mini poems of Bards in the Saddle. And so you could read this with your wife, or you could read it with your husband or anyone. Interesting poems, Bards in the Saddle, and just ask Laura where it is. Now, talking about love stories, that's a book just to share. I'm going to be suggesting activities to do too. Now, this is the last one we have. It's no longer in print. I got two. One went away, and maybe I'll order another one through the Rare Books group. It's called Bird Finding in British Columbia. This is the definitive book of watching birds in BC. So on Valentine's Day, grab your honey by her hand and go in the bush and look for birds. Look for all sorts of birds. I'm going to just find one rendition. I'm going to read one paragraph. It's just amazing. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, here it is right here. Bird Finding in BC. Can you imagine picking up a book and you're from Chetwynd or Moberly Lake, and it says, "Moberly Lake Provincial Park is the most convenient place from which to bird the lake and surrounding woodland. In addition, you can camp," and then it talks about black-throated green warblers and so, and then they turn around and go to the other side of the lake, and you can almost see all the birds along the way. You could actually go into Ian Campbell's yard from reading this book. It is the definitive book, Bird Finding in British Columbia. We only have one. Maybe I'll find another, but this is available right now. Now, this book is one of the best books in the whole world. It is absolutely incredible. It's called Lonesome, Memoirs of a Wilderness Dog. If you want a good cry, if you want your wife or husband to cry their eyes out, real loud, this is the book, Lonesome. And what it is, it's written from the perspective of the dog, Lonesome. And he turns around and he gives sort of a testimony of how he turned around. No, it's a she. Lonesome is a she, and how she lived with her family. Incredibly good book. There's one part I really like. Lonesome is older, and Lonesome is beside the fireplace, and Lonesome's master says, "Come on, old girl, let's go for a ride on a horse." And Lonesome's response is, "I don't want to go outside. It's cold outside. Besides, that big, heavy horse might step on me." Real. It's a real tearjerker because it lives through the family of Lonesome and her life. If you want a good read, good cry, it's a love story between a family and their dog. I enjoyed it. I gave it as a Christmas present a few years ago, and my sister phoned and said, don't ever give me a book like that again. I cried every night. Excellent book. Now, we're doing a contest on Pics FM, and it's your pet names. Well, you know what? A lot of people have said they call their wife my flower, or my petunia, or my daisy. Well, this book has all the flowers in a piece. Flowers at my feet, Western wildflowers, and it talks about legend, literature, and love. I like this book. And you can turn around and see the drawings. So you could take your wife or husband and go outside and start looking at the plants that will be in the springtime. I like this book. It's a good book. If you don't buy it, you're missing an education, and you need an education. You have to tell your children and grandchildren about wildflowers, and this is the book that will give them that education. Don't be ignorant. Buy this book about wildflowers. The last two books I'm going to talk about this is truly a wonderful book, and I'm trying to reach Erna Prokol today, actually. Erna, if you're watching, phone Leo Spolsky, because I want you to come and read a couple pages of this book, or have a friend read it. It's A Journey Beyond. It is a love story, and it's so good. And here's Erna, and it talks about her living in Canada, coming from Germany. An excellent book, her and France, Prokol. And I like the cover. Wonderful, wonderful. And there's lots of pictures here. Terrific. So that is a good book. It is a true love story of the piece. Last book I'm going to talk about is, I was talking about Ralph Parker, and Ralph is a wonderful man. He mentions this man, Youngblood, of the piece. Is this a love story? Yeah, it is. It's a love story between Father Youngblood and the piece. Chetwynd Moberly Lake. He truly loved this area. And this book documents his travels and all his stories. I remember when Father Youngblood, on his retirement party, they gave him some home tanned moccasins and mucklucks, and he picked it up and he smelled it and said, this is like home. So this week, enjoy your spouse, your friends, but most of all, remember the love that you have in the Peace River area. Excellent books. So see Youngblood at the Peace, Mrs. Prokol's book, Erna Prokol's book, A Journey Beyond. Call Your Honey My Little Petunia, Flowers at My Feet. Lonesome. You have to get this. I can get more of these. It's easy to get, but this is the last one, but I'll get some more. A true story, a family story. And to improve your education about birds. The world is gone to the birds. Get this book. So it's Leo Sobolski signing off for another book report from Pics FM Chet TV studios at Pine Tree Books. Visit us. We're going to be having an open house next week, Friday, starting at 10 a.m. That's February 12th, 10 a.m. Come in and enjoy our books. And if you don't, you're going to miss something that is absolutely wonderful.
That's all the time we have for today. For Chet TV News, I'm Marlon Gomez. Thanks for joining us.
Chet TV is owned and operated by the Chetwynd Communication Society. You can find us on Channel 655 on Bell, Eastlink Channel 40, or on Air Channel 55. Chet TV, your station.